Alright, so today I'm sitting down with Amin, a guy with a crazy story, military background, engineering, business, coaching. He's been through a lot. He has faced burnout, hit rock bottom, and completely reinvented himself. And now he's helping others do the same. We get into mindset, overcoming fear, building discipline, health, fitness, business, and just taking action, because at the end of the day, that's what truly matters, right? If you ever felt stuck, overthought your next move, or waited for the perfect time to start, this episode is for you. And if you're serious about growth, about actually changing your life, you need to check out the Courageous Ones. It's not just a community, it's where you get accountability, mindset, and support to push past your limits. If you want direct guidance from me, where we work one-on-one to build real discipline and transform your life, now is the time to join. The link is in the description. All right, let's get into it. If you were to describe yourself to someone new in 3 words, how would you do it?
I would say that that's a good question. And it kind of changes based on my mood, what I would say. But I would definitely say that I'm a very ambitious person. Like, I'm very goal-driven. And I've been that basically all my life since I was a child. Like, always had to do something, with meaning, right? So up until this point in my life, I think all I've done, I've reached my goals like in every process I've been in, trying to realize myself. I was in the military. I wanted to go to the military, and I did that for 5 years.
Military for 5
Yeah.
years.
And after that, I was like, okay, I have to get a degree in engineering. I did that, got a master's degree. And I got a good job eventually. Kind of like rose through the ranks in where I worked.
Right.
And eventually I broke out from that 9 to 5 and started my own business, and here I am.
Interesting. So, ambitious. What are the two other words?
I think I'm very I'm very thorough. Like, I'm a very thorough person.
Interesting.
I like to do things. I don't like to do anything halfway. If I start with something, I kind of see it through. I commit 100%. Otherwise, it's not worth doing.
Right. Just go all the way.
I just go all the way. I don't have I just have like this on and off switch, right? So if I'm passionate about it, I go all the way. So yeah, I would say that I'm very thorough. I'm very I take my time to carefully consider like every possible risk as well.
Yeah.
And I don't leave anything to chance.
You like to have control of your own life.
Yes, maybe a bit too much sometimes.
Oh, really?
But I just like to take everything into consideration in terms of, what if, all the what ifs has to be answered.
Oh, okay.
All the rocks, all the stones have to be, no stones can be left unturned. So yeah.
Okay, last one.
The last one, all right. So we have goal-driven, ambitious, and thorough. I would say that also I'm a very sociable person. Like, I like being social.
Yeah.
I like reaching out to people and kind of, hearing people's stories, talking to people, chatting, being social, being like inquisitive of other people.
Right.
And like, for me, it's not very hard to be in a like unfamiliar environment and then, get to know people.
Okay.
Like here in Bali, it's obviously like I'm here by myself, and I get the pleasure of meeting people every single day, everywhere. Like in every imaginable situation, I always come across somebody. And some people are very interesting. Others are kind of like not that interesting. But there's like always a level of interest, So yeah, I take pride in being an outgoing social person.
Would you say you are more of an extrovert than an introvert?
It's a good question. So that has changed in my younger life. Before I was like 100% extrovert, which means that I got energized being with other people all the time. I could not be on my own. I could not be alone. But as I've grown older with the years, I've kind of transitioned into being more introvert. So I would say like I'm 50-50, like introvert, extrovert, but at the same time I'm outgoing.
Right.
So you can be very outgoing, but at the same time be very introvert. It's just a matter of the definition is how do you get your energy? Like, how do you get energized? Being by yourself or being with other people? I think I'm somewhere in between.
Do you have problem like being alone with yourself?
No, I don't. I actually seek aloneness often. Like if I have had a full day of being social, I need to go back home and just shut the door and be by myself.
I think a lot of people has like problem being alone. They always need someone to talk to or be social. I think it's kind of like a superpower if you can stay alone, be alone, isolate yourself, be with your own thoughts. If you have that good relation with yourself,
Yeah.
I think it's a superpower.
Yes, and I think also it's also a skill. You just need to work on it as just a skill, being alone and being like not being dependent on other people. I think that's a skill that needs to be mastered. So yeah, for me it was more like I kind of transitioned into that by myself. I didn't spend a lot of time like trying to master it. It just happened kind of. But yeah, I think you need to like be confident enough to be by yourself and just do your own things alone.
What advice would you give? I think it's very important to build up that skill set of being alone, being with your own thoughts. What one advice would you give to someone who wants to do it?
Yeah, I would say that being alone doesn't always mean doing something by yourself. You can just sit perfectly still by yourself and do nothing. Like, you don't have to be on your phone. You don't have to be preoccupied with something all the time. I think you need to realize that even though you're not doing anything, you're still doing something. You're maybe collecting your thoughts. Like, lying in your bed looking at the ceiling isn't necessarily a waste of time, because you can do a lot of reflection, right?
Exactly.
So you just have to keep that in mind, that being totally inactive by yourself doesn't mean that you're wasting your time. So that's number one. And also, like, for instance, when I'm alone, I read. I try to, do something that is either fun or I just also, like everybody else, sit on my phone and consume content and social media.
Yeah.
But I think that, like, yeah, I mean, sometimes I watch Netflix, sometimes I read, sometimes I scroll on my phone, sometimes I just sit there with my coffee sitting outside on my porch and just kind of reflecting. There are so many things you can do. And I think we're all always so, we're so, you know, we're always trying to be productive and effective and like trying to create something, which is good. But when you're by yourself, you kind of have to like kind of give yourself a break. Also, it's very important to give yourself a break, to kind of just, just chill, take a deep breaths, maybe meditate, do some mindfulness, and just be present. Yeah.
It's very important to, like you mentioned, reflecting. Even journaling is a good way of
Yeah.
reflecting. And like you said, meditating is also important. You talked about reading. What type of books do you like reading?
So I like reading, well, I mostly consume like self-improvement books.
Nice, me too.
Currently I'm reading The Diary of a CEO by Stephen
Yes.
Bartlett, which is like I would say like the cliche book for any entrepreneur out there. But it's very interesting to read like the success stories of other CEOs. It's very inspiring. But I read to get knowledge, but at the same time, I start my day. So I get up super early, and during my breakfast, I read. And I also read in order to get in the right mindset. Because when I read it's like maybe 4 or 5 pages, I kind of dial in my mind to work that day, right? So I kind of use the reading as a way of, getting dialed in and getting ready to do work that day, at the same time learn something. So there's like 2 ways. Maybe like 20 minutes of reading, 50, like even 10, 15 minutes is enough for me, just to get that right start.
To get into that, how do you say
To get into to get into the mode.
the mode.
Yes. To get into the mode.
Okay. What's your, if you can share with us your favorite book?
I think that would be the 5 a.m. Club.
Robin Sharma?
Yes.
Oh, okay, interesting. I haven't read the book yet, but I've heard a lot about it.
It's tied between that and The Monk That Sold His Ferrari, both from Sharma.
Okay, interesting. Like we have this non-negotiable here that everybody has to wake up at 5 a.m. and it's amazing. I've been doing this for like almost whole my life, and it has a big benefit. I don't know if that's what the book is about, but I found a lot of benefits of just waking up early. Like you mentioned, you wake up early.
Yes.
Around what time do you wake up?
So I get up at like sometime between 5 and 6 myself.
5.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like getting up early is something I've been doing since I was young. I haven't been able. I'm not the type of guy who sleeps until like noon. Never in my life. That's like. But I kind of like when you get up early, you have so much more time. Like you get to be like, my brain works better in the mornings. So that's why I do the majority of my work. I do it like before noon. Try to like get in a good work. Get in those good working hours before noon. Because I know that in the afternoon, my brain kind of starts to shut down like more and more and more. So like when I come in the afternoon, I do not like working in the afternoons. I do not like working in the nights, like in the evenings when it's dark. I do it like on occasion, but I prefer working in the morning because that's when I'm the like most focused. And waking up early, it's also like you get like a lot more hours than others. Like if you start, it's simple math. Like if you start your day at 6, compared to sometimes some other who starts at 9, you get like
The head start.
you get a head start. Like 3 hours a day, Monday to Friday, 15 hours, right?
Yeah, I think I'm similar to you. Like, I'm most productive in the morning. I have the most energy. I've slept before, so I like literally more energy. I'm rested, and yeah, like I focus better. I can
Yeah.
do better deep work, and like you said, you get a head start.
You get a head start, which which is it's a head start. So you get to be more, you get in the hours that you actually need.
And it also sets the tone for the day.
Yeah.
Most of the times, like from my personal experience, when my morning goes right, like the rest of the day goes right as well.
Yes.
So I think it's very important. Would you recommend people who aren't a morning person, who doesn't wake up early, would you recommend they try doing that?
Both yes and no, because like at the end of the day, you kind of have to be comfortable. Like you have to be, like if you're constantly finding yourself and forcing yourself to wake up early. I mean, you have to force yourself. You have to get out of your comfort zone to make a change. But if you don't function in the morning, like if you do not function at all, then it's probably not for you. But I would say that 8 or maybe 9 out of 10 people would eventually, get used to it. I think most people can and have the ability and the potential to be a morning person.
Okay.
As well. It's all about like training yourself, training your mind to go to bed early, because I do go to bed early as well, and get up early. I get my good hours, like 8 hours of sleep, because I go to bed at like 9:30, 10. And I get my 8 hours, so getting up at 5 or 6 is just right for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you are a fitness coach. Can I say that?
Yeah.
How did you get into it?
Oh, that's a long story. Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, that I used to be stuck in a 9 to 5, and I worked as a project manager in engineering, and I did that for like almost 10 years. And to be honest, I always felt that I'm happy, but I'm not like the happiest person doing this. It was, it was something comfortable, something safe. It gave me, money every month to pay my bills, but I was always like, is this it? Is this all there's to it? Like, there should be something more. So I kind of like went through the same thoughts for years, trying to figure out what I would do. Like I wanted to start something, but I just couldn't. I just didn't know what to do. So then life kind of changed for me drastically 2 years ago. I got burnt out from my work, like some people do. And on top of that, I also got a health issue. So I learned after a few months of being burnt out that I had cancer. And so, wow, that was like, holy shit, I'm burnt out, but at the same time I have cancer. I have to prioritize the cancer, obviously. So I was like in and out, like in treatment this was back in 2022. And going through all that, it was painful, it was stressful, it was hell, but at the same time, it gave me new perspectives in life. Like, now is the time. Like, now you have to make a choice. And right before I learned about the cancer, I was like, because when I was burned out, I was really like physically and mentally in a really bad place. I was overweight. I was like stressed. I had so much cortisol in my body. Like, I was super stressed. I was overweight. I was tired. Like, all the things that, are not evidence of good health, right? And I started my fitness journey to lose weight, because I need to lose weight. And I need to get, better. Because I kind of promised myself that I'm going to work myself through this by, bettering myself. So I did everything on my own. I read all these articles. I watched YouTube for hours, trying to learn about training, fitness, nutrition, and stuff. And then the other thing came, and it kind of, but I didn't. I kind of stuck to my routine, even though I was in treatment, even though I was feeling awful and sick. I tried, like, I powered through with training and fitness. So when I finally was finished, when I was done with the treatment and kind of got some distance to it, I then realized that I wanted to turn my passion, which was fitness, into a way of life, a way of income. So that is how I quit my job. I left my career behind, like in a day.
Wow.
Yeah, like in a day, I quit, and I started the work of shaping my business. Started the like, it was all new to me. Like I didn't even know where to begin. So I became an online coach.
Wow.
Yeah.
Such an inspiring story. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you
Oh,
sharing that.
my pleasure.
Wow, what an inspiring story. And you said you quit it in a day. It was a how was the process like, the thinking process?
Yeah. So like, so after that year of being away, so I was away from work for a year, you know, with all like the medical situation that I was in. And when I came back to my job after a year, I quit that job and I found another job. Like, this was back in like January, February of last year.
23.
In 23. So I quit my job and I got another job, which was supposed to start. I was supposed to start in August. So I had like a few months off to kind of like come, you know, to get some peace, get some time off. And I came to Bali that summer, like in June of last year. I came to Bali, and
Why
that
Bali?
I don't know. I just always wanted to go to Bali, so I bought a ticket to Bali, and I was here for only like 3 weeks. But those 3 weeks kind of changed everything. I just realized that now is the time to make a change. So I was supposed to start a new position in August of last year, but the first day that I started in my new job, I also quit.
Wow.
Because I knew that going back to this is it's not gonna be possible. Like, I'm gone. Like, I'm too far away now, like in my head. So I just quit.
Wow.
I quit, and that was the end of that.
That takes a lot of courage to
Yeah,
quit
it
your
was
9 to 5.
it was hard. It was like very, very hard. But I couldn't stand the thought of starting. Like, it would not solve my problems. It was not the answer for me. So I just quit my job and left my career behind after 10 years almost. I also left behind my salary, my security, my all the things that made my life safe. And I just, found myself in a situation where I didn't have that safety anymore. But it felt good. It felt like, if I could compare it to something, it's like breaking up with a girlfriend. It pains you to hurt another person, but deep down you know it's the right thing for you, right? That is how I felt. Like, I had a good run, but it was time to move on with other things.
Well, I'm sure there are a lot of people who wants to take that leap of faith. I don't know, do you have advice on people on how to do it or how to start?
Yeah, so like this process for me took years. Like this was not a spur of the moment thing for me. Like I've been on the fence. I had been thinking for years what to do. So this was not an impulsive act. It was not. But I think, well, I mean, if there's a desire in you to do something else, if there's a deep desire to do something else with your life, I would say like 9 out of 10 times, just you have to do it. Like if you stall, if you put it out, if you kind of put it off, that's not going to help you. It's like losing weight or changing your lifestyle. The more you wait, it's not going to get any better. You're still going to be overweight, or you're still not going to feel the amount of energy that you need, or you're not going to get any better by waiting. It's like that in everything. Lifestyle change, weight loss, improving yourself, doing something else. At some point, like you can either do it like a side hustle. If you have something you know you want to do, you can like keep your daytime job, and like that's a way to do it. But part-time commitment gives part-time results. And that's all I have to say.
That's a good one.
So if you do 50%, you will get 50%, probably get 50% results. So it will take longer time. But if you're fine with that, then that's cool. But for me, it was like, I don't function like that. I had to quit. I had to like completely like cut and sever my old life completely, take distance from my old life in order to move forward.
Right.
I couldn't have like my like 50% of like doing something half and half. That wouldn't work. Just so you know, so being part-time committed will also give you part-time results. That's going to happen.
Like Matthew McConaughey says something like, don't half-ass it, just go all in, dive it.
Yeah.
That's a good advice.
Yeah, so like, but if you have that desire, if you know that there's a desire to do something other than what you're doing with your daytime job, then that feeling's not going to go away. You can suppress it, you can try to forget about it, you can push it away, but it will always come back. Always. And don't settle for less. I mean, like settling, it's almost like giving up. It's almost like the same as just rolling over and roll over and die. You don't want to do that. You know, there's a saying that a lot of people reach their old, like they become 80 or 90, but they died in their 40s. Like they died when they were 40. Do you know the?
I've heard about
Yeah.
the saying.
So don't be one of those. Don't be one of those who die long before you actually die.
I know how it feels. I found like my purpose, that deep desire. I call it my passion. But I've heard people find it's hard to make that one decision, like find their one thing. Do you have an advice for people to find that one thing that they can go all in on?
I think like most of the, like 99% of the times, people don't do it because they're scared. You know, it's fear.
Yeah.
And fear keeps them, like they kind of play out the scenario in their head, and they kind of give up already in their head. Like they don't even transform their thoughts into action. Like everything stops in your head, right?
Right.
And yeah, it's fear. that you need to overcome. You need to lean into the uncertainty. You have to, you don't, not, it's not enough to accept it. You kind of have to enjoy it. You kind of have to fool yourself, trick yourself into like, this is what I want.
Right. Do you think you have to be a little bit delusional to that, to follow your goals and dreams that you have?
Absolutely. Like, yeah, I think being delusional, being a bit eccentric, because like realizing your dreams, it's not linear. It's never going to be linear. Like I was a very linear person. I was like making all these plans and like, you know, like a work schedule. But that's not how it works. It can go forward, then go down and backward and up again. It's not linear, that path.
Right.
Kind of like the path kind of, it's shaped along like with time. You don't know where it goes. And I think you just need to let go of that control. You need to let go of trying to control everything, because you won't be able to do that. It's just a waste of energy. It's a waste of time. I mean, you can have plans, you can have like the ambition, but you need to keep an open mind, almost to the point of being delusional,
Right.
being a bit crazy, leaning into the risk. Like how Stephen Bartlett writes it in the CEO of Diary, is like, you have to lean into the risk. You have to lean into, if you're a very risk averse person, you're risking not being able to succeed.
Right.
Right? So your stakes become the success. So you have to lean into everything that makes you uncomfortable. Like, I mean, everything. You cannot run from it.
That's where the growth is, right?
Yes.
Being out of your comfort zone,
Yeah.
challenging yourself.
Yeah.
I agree.
So the growth is always in those things that you're trying to avoid. That's where growth is.
Right.
Yeah. Always. It took me a long time to realize that, because I was also super scared. But it's okay being scared. Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about your business.
Yeah.
Can you explain to me what you do in your business?
Yeah, so I'm an online coach. I wouldn't say that I'm like 100% fitness coach. I'm something in between fitness and mindset coaching. So you never see me posting anything about like proper deadlift form or how to do like the best exercise for your biceps or your chest. That's not my realm. I use fitness and nutrition as tools in changing people's mindsets, like to achieve long-term change. So that's where the mindset part comes in. So I don't geek out about like fitness related stuff. That's not my thing. So yeah, like currently I work with a handful of clients from Norway, and it's like it's the general population, people who want to get better. They want to better themselves. So I kind of use the fitness and nutrition part so that people kind of awaken into getting better habits. Because better habits gives you the long-term results, and the long-term results give you better like mental health, physical health, better life.
How important do you think changing your mindset is for reaching that dream physique?
It starts with the mindset. Yeah. You cannot make long-term changes because everything with the body has to be a long-term goal. Like you cannot make overnight changes. You have to change your beliefs. You have to change your limiting thoughts about things. You have to, like, there are so many things that you need to do in your head. You really need to do a cleanup in your head before you can perceive the physical. Like, I would say that like the mindset part is like job one, and then the training and the nutrition is like, that's downstream, you know, that comes later. So yeah, I don't think like if a client struggles with something, it's not enough to change the programs, you know, tweak the macros, maybe sometimes, but mostly it's something deeper that you need to work with. Hence the mindset part. And all coaches out there who do fitness coaching without expecting to dive into people's behaviors, I'm sorry, but you're not going to last long.
Okay. I think most people have a misunderstanding of what the benefits are for working out. It's not just physical benefits. Can you tell me what more benefits there are, like, in other aspects of life?
So working out, like results, they can be, they're like divided into two groups, right? So you have the objective results. And objective results are all the results you can measure in like kilogram, centimeters, pounds, like how much weights you lift. Those are the objective results. But then you have also the subjective results, which is like your own like perception of how well you feel, your well-being, your like increased energy, less stress, better sleep, and like overall happiness. So a lot of people tend to only focus on the first part, right? And forget about the other part.
Yeah.
But together they're a whole. They need to like, they're equally important.
Right. Like, it's not just physical benefits. You build a character, you build your mindset, you're building discipline as well.
Yeah, so for my own experience, I used to be super fixated on all like the weight and my body fat percentage. Like I had super tunnel vision. But did it help in the long run? No, it didn't. But this time, it grew bigger. Like it's, you know, it can start with losing a couple of pounds. That could be a good starting point. That could, like, you know, inspire you, give you motivation, like instant. But over time, it has to evolve. It has to be something. It has to, like, right now I'm working out because if I don't work out, I don't function. My whole day gets wrecked. My whole week gets wrecked, which again, like, affects all my other aspects of my life, like my work suffers, my mood suffers, my sleep suffers, right? So I think like people need to focus on that there are two aspects of results. And your goals should be divided equally among those two.
Do you have an advice for people? Like, I'm sure, like, New Year is coming. A lot of people are motivated. They will make their New Year resolution of like being in the best shape of their life, but then in like few weeks they just give up. They don't have the discipline. What advice would you give them to stick to it?
I would say that it doesn't matter what you do before, and it doesn't matter what you do between Christmas and New Year. What matters is what you do between New Year's and Christmas.
Right.
which means that, again, staying consistent for a long time. Like that 1 week between Christmas and New Year's. I mean, all in all, doesn't matter. You have to. It's what happens in New Year to next Christmas that matters. And like doing the yo-yo thing where you abandon, like you're super focused for a period of time, then you abandon yourself, and then you kind of pick it up again over the summer. Like, isn't that exhausting?
Right.
Isn't that like, don't you have more self-respect? Don't you love yourself more?
Right.
Like people should love themselves more. People should think that, okay, today I eat this food, I do all these things, I work out, I go to bed early because I respect myself, I love myself. That is why I do it. I don't do it because I have to. I do it because I have self-respect, I have self-love. That's a mindset change as well.
That's a good point. Building the good relationship with yourself, having self-respect and self-love. I've heard a lot of people say that they don't have a good relationship with themselves. They don't love themselves. Do you have an advice for them on how to improve their relationship with themselves, how they can build the self-confidence, self-love, and the self-respect?
It's about taking care of yourself. Like, I think you're like, a lot of people go out, like for instance, they go out every weekend, party, drink, and then you feel like shit afterwards.
Right.
Because like you get that instant gratification of alcohol. Like I'm not saying alcohol is bad or anything. Like I drink occasionally. You can still drink and have fun, but like you're wrecking your body with bad food and alcohol and too much like doesn't give you anything in return. I would say that build your character by loving yourself. Like, you deserve better. You deserve to have a healthy body. That goes also for like, it's so funny to think that people work so hard like to get money, right? So they get unhealthy in that pursuit. But later, they spend all that money to get their health back.
Right. It's crazy.
Doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So why not just, just realizing, just facing that, okay, you only have one health. And when I had cancer, I was aware that, holy shit, my health is in jeopardy here. My health is in danger. Without my health, I cannot be, you're nothing.
Right.
I don't want people to go through that, to realize those things. That is extreme. Like I just want people to know that you might think that you're invincible. You might think that you're invincible up until the point where your health is threatened. And always changing, a change will always be painful. So you can choose. You can choose the pain of being stagnant. You can choose the pain of not doing anything. Or you can choose the pain of changing. Both are equally painful, but changing gives you something back, gives you a return, right? And trust me, like when you get to a certain level of health, it's easier to maintain that level. So both are, so what I like to say to my clients, choose your pain. One thing doesn't give you anything back, the other gives you something back in return. It's your choice.
Choose your pain.
Choose your pain.
There is
chosen suffering and unchosen suffering. So chosen suffering, we go to the gym, we are under stress. It's like chosen suffering, we run in the rain, building a new habit. It's not fun, it's getting out of your comfort zone. But people like to stay in the comfort zone, it's comfortable. And it can be, what's the word? You become complacent, and then you stop growing. I think it's important to have a growth mindset instead of like a fixed mindset.
Definitely.
Can you talk a little bit about having a growth mindset?
Yeah, so growth mindset is all about seeing possibilities. It's a way of thinking where like you kind of see obstacles as temporary stops, not like a permanent one. So that is one aspect. You don't have the either or way of thinking, like good, bad. That's like a fixed mindset. Strong, weak.
Yeah, either you have it or you don't.
Yes. So those are like typical, traits of fixed mindset. And like, if you have a bad day, it's like if we're supposed to like do it metaphorically, like if you have a car has four wheels, right? So if you get a flat tire on one wheel, would you go and slash the other three?
No.
Right? You fix the one and then you get back on the road. So I think like you have to try and evolve getting a growth mindset. You have to see like obstacles as something temporary. You have to see pain as something temporary. You have to be like, you have to be kind of tenacious also. You have to be determined. And also know that growth it's linear. It's not linear. It's like a stock market thing, like a graph.
And then exponential at the end.
Yeah. So as long as you have the ups and you have the downs, but if the trend is going up, like you have to see everything. You can't see everything from day to day. You have to see it in weeks and months and years.
Yeah, long term.
And I also think that like a big part of like growth and fixed mindset is the self-sabotage behavior, like being, like you have typical ways of behaviors for self-sabotage, like overeating or limited beliefs. And those can be complicated to kind of explain why. It's like based on your childhood, your experience. But I think you need to be aware of your self-sabotage and kind of break out of that.
Let's talk about Bali. So you came here, is it your second time here?
Yeah.
And now you're staying here long term?
Yes, for extended period of time.
What do you think is the difference between Norway and Bali?
Well, the weather, obviously. No, I mean, being in Bali, it's very refreshing in many ways. You're here with people who are here for the same reasons as you. You're here with like-minded people. You're here with people who take care of themselves, like with health, fitness, nutrition. You're here with business-driven people, ambitious people. Even though we do separate things, we're in like separate businesses, we have that common denominator, And also like here, if you're a little bit eccentric, if you dream big, if you think big, people cheer you on. They support you because they're the same as you. Whereas back home in Norway, people don't fully grasp or understand you completely. They cheer you on, but they don't know what the hell you're talking about, right? Whereas here, people are like, holy shit, that's cool. And they come up with like other, like maybe they have other suggestions, or they kind of like, they become immediately engaged in your ideas. Like, cool, yeah, go for it. Sounds good. So that's the beauty of Bali.
Right. You meet more like-minded people.
You only meet like-minded people. And that doesn't mean that we have all the answers. Like, people have their own struggles, but at least they're in a place where they're just trying to better themselves also. Everybody's here on their own personal journey.
Right. How important do you think changing your environment is?
Oh, absolutely, it's crucial. So when I was in Norway, the reason I came to Bali is because I had zero community. I had no one like-minded around me. Like, I had no support. I felt very alone. Like, living in Oslo where I live, when I was in the 9-to-5 life, it made sense because everybody else was in the 9-to-5. But as you know, as soon as I broke out of that pattern, I kind of after a while, I felt like, holy shit, I'm so alone. I have nothing. I have nobody to talk to about my business, my goals, my ambitions, my ideas. Like, there's nobody to kind of like, you know, ping pong with. So I felt very alone.
Get that. And you don't feel alone anymore here in Bali.
Oh no, not in that sense anymore.
You found your own community.
Yeah, in many ways I have. Like, I found people that I can like. There are communities where you can go. There are people so you can talk to who will listen, and you can listen to other people and share your knowledge and your experience. It's a whole different thing.
It's so weird, like in Bali, everybody's so fit that you feel like you have to work harder, eat healthy, and be fit as well. It's very motivating. I like that about Bali. If you had to choose like one thing that you like about Bali and one thing that you dislike about Bali, what would it be?
One thing that I like about Bali, well, I think one thing I like about Bali is it's going to be very wide and general probably, but I love the food here. The food is excellent. I mean, I just love the food because everything is geared towards a healthy lifestyle. Can I have two things?
Sure.
So I love the food and the gyms.
Oh yeah.
The gyms are super nice.
Top.
One thing I dislike about Bali is that it's kind of like, I mean, we're in a third world country. We are. Even though the locals are super nice, good people, there's still a lot of like pollution. It's not very eco-friendly place. Like, you have all the exhaust and all the the smog, which is like all the traffic, which is not good.
Right.
Like, Bali is polluting the world. Like, if you think, it's very consumer oriented. Like, that makes me kind of feel bad because it's very abundant here. Like, everything is in abundance. And it's not like, it's very crammy. Like, I wish people would be more into walking here around, like in Norway. Nobody walks here. Everybody just drive their bike.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that. All right. Let's do it's something new that I want to try. The quick fire question. So you have to answer as quickly as possible.
Without thinking?
Yeah. Whatever
Whatever pops into your head, all right.
Your favorite cheat meal?
Hamburgers.
Hamburgers. Morning workouts or evening workouts?
Morning.
Nice. What's your favorite exercise?
I think the lat pull down.
Let pull down. Okay. One habit that changed your life.
Waking up early.
One of my favorite as well. One Norwegian thing you miss the most.
Oh, I miss my coffee maker, the coffee back home.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The machine?
Yeah, I miss the machine.
Okay. I like the coffee here in Bali.
Yeah, it's good, but it's not the same as back home.
Next level then, yeah. I have to go try it.
Yeah, it's next level.
All right, that's it for the quickfire questions. So I got this inspired by Jay Shetty on the podcast. There's like two questions that I really like, and I want to try asking it to the guests. What's the best piece of advice you have ever received?
What's the best piece of advice I've ever received? Wow. That is tough. I mean, I'm tempted to say that, follow your dreams, which is not, it is not an advice that I've actually received, but I can't even remember. Can we circle back to it?
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, the second one is, what's the worst piece of advice you have ever received?
Oh. I think the worst piece of advice is my parents. They tried their best, and I know that this advice came from a good place, but it was not good. It's just doing what everything, like everybody else, like going down that road, getting that standard
The
traditional path. That was the worst piece of advice that I've probably gotten in my life.
Was it hard in the beginning when you started your journey and you tell your parents that you want to go this route, this journey?
No, so my mom was very supportive, but other people were very judgy. Like I remember specifically a girl that I talked to, she was like, what kind of person goes from being an engineer to a physical, like a PT?
Wow.
In her head, that was a step down. That was like degrading yourself, right? Like demoting yourself. I was like, okay.
Damn.
That's okay. If that's your thought,
Opinion.
Sure, go be my guest. So yeah, I don't think people mostly have been very supportive, but I don't think people always comprehend why you're doing what you're doing.
Right. I think we have to learn to be misunderstood as well. Not everybody is gonna see from your perspective. They don't have the vision that you have. So I think it's important to build a skill of like just being okay with being misunderstood by other people, just doing your own thing.
Yeah, and you can easily pick it up. Like when I speak to someone, I can like within a few seconds, like a second, I can kind of like get the impression of, do they really understand me or not? Based on their like reaction and what they're saying back to me. It's like, oh, I don't think you quite comprehend where I am. But, people try their best. I mean, I think like all in all, people want what's best for you. It's just that they're not always able to fully understand your journey, which is fine.
That's fine.
It's okay. I don't need people's approval or understanding to do what I do. It's not about that.
Right.
So, yeah, it's just you and your journey.
You.
Yes, it's just you and your path. Like, I've had to, cut ties with a lot of people during this phase of my life, because it's like, sorry, but our friendship has kind of come to an end because we're in different places now. And that happens. Fortunately, you sacrifice some people in order to kind of evolve, develop yourself.
Right.
That is how it is. You just have to accept that yourself.
That's very. You have to be courageous.
You have to be courageous. You have to be brave.
You have to be brave. I'm sure there are a lot of people who are in that circle of the friend group, and they want to start their own thing, go after their dreams, but their friends, like, they are trying to pull him down and demotivate him. And like you said, you have done it. What advice would you give him?
Yeah, I would definitely, you have to seek out people. First, I mean, what you need to understand, you don't seek out people that tells you what you want to hear. You want to seek out people who are better than you and are on the right track. You want to seek out people who are on the track, who are already in the track of where you want to be, right? And you have to kind of like tune out all others because they're static. They're trying to pull you down. They're trying to they're trying to make you shift your focus. Yeah, you just have to team up with people who are already doing what you want to do and that are better than you.
One thing that helped me was it's hard to find people in real life who has a similar mindset unless you move to Bali. What really helped me was finding the right creators to watch, or find the right podcast that's inspiring. That really helped me to keep myself motivated and keep myself on the right track. And then eventually I made that big step of just buying that one-way ticket to Bali. And I'm happy I'm here, and now changing my environment and meeting like-minded people. It's very inspiring and very motivating. And how I would encourage people to, build up that courage and just go for it.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no way of knowing when you're going to be successful, if you're going to be successful. There isn't. Like, being an entrepreneur, you never know the return of what you put in. Like in money, hours, everything is uncertain. But what is certain is that it's all up to you. Like, at some point it will turn. It's just a question of when. It's just a question of like how much, like at some point you have to learn to love the journey and the uncertainty that comes along with that journey, because there's a lot of uncertainty.
Oh, yeah.
You will get a lot of no's, you will be rejected, you will be, I don't know, but that's all temporary. Like, at some point you will have your breakthrough.
Right. Well, a lot of people give up way before that.
Yeah.
How can you build that mindset and the self-belief and the belief in your path?
Yeah.
It's going to work out.
Yes. So I think like the one of the biggest mistakes people do is that when something doesn't work, they change strategies, which can be correct. It can be the right thing to do, but you can never change your strategy based on intuition or emotion. If you feel that one of your ads, like one of your meta ads, whatever, isn't performing as well, you will probably be wrong. So what you need to do is you need to collect data. You need like numbers to track the performance of your, for example, in this case, the ad. So if you feel that one strategy like it's the like Alec Hormozy, another podcaster. He talks about the woman, the lady in the red dress.
Alex Hormozy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So lady in the red dress means that once you start getting like something is not working, you see like this shiny object. Oh, maybe I'll try this. Someone comes along, you know, you're vulnerable, you're frustrated. Then some person comes along and says, "Hey, you pay me this, and I'll introduce you this." Then you do it, and then you probably end up losing even more money. So if you're going to make a change, you have to have data. You have to confirm your suspicions with systems. Then make a change. Never change anything based on your general intuition or emotion. Just stay true to your strategy. You just have to do it long enough. It's like losing weight. Once again, we can take this into fitness. A person is trying to lose weight. Been dieting for 1, 2, 3 weeks. Nothing's happening. So we start doing all like, but the fact is that you have to do it long enough to start losing weight.
Right.
Or you have been losing weight, and at some point your weight plateaus. You start giving up. You need to do something. So that's how it is in business as well. You just have to find your strategy and kind of just ride it out. Not be distracted with everything out there.
Right. The shiny object syndrome.
The shiny object syndrome is going to kill you. It's
Right.
not. You're just going to end up spending more money, wasting energy, wasting time, money. Like, just be sure that this actually doesn't work before you do something else.
Right. That's a good advice.
Yeah.
Like Alex Hormozy, I think he said something like, either if you keep going, either you will make it or you die. So he says you have to play the infinite game, like thinking long term and going all in. So I think that's a good advice.
Yeah.
All right. Have you thought about that first question?
What's the best
The
piece of
best
advice
piece of advice.
in my life?
I know it's a hard question.
I think it was for my business partner, to be honest, like in recent time. Yeah, it has to be from, so my current business partner in my other business, I started working with him. And his best piece of advice was exactly what I said now, without like, if you don't feel anything is working, don't change your strategy based on your intuition, which was exactly what I was doing. So I think that has to be one of the best pieces of advice I've gotten. And also realize, well, this is more like a realization more, is that whatever you do, like the moment you offer a service or a product online, like this kind of changed my whole mentality of being a coach, is that you have to, like, being a successful coach or like selling, if you're selling courses or coaching or whatever, you have to master sales and marketing. So I'm not in the coaching business, I'm in the sales and marketing business, because it doesn't matter if your product is the best, but your sales and your marketing strategies are off, people will never know about your product, you know?
Right.
So I think, like, a lot of my, like, in this process also, I've tried to work really hard on my sales and marketing strategies as well, learning about those. And I learn every day, like sales psychology, trying to, you know, get people inquisitive of my product, then try to convert them into meetings and then sales. So yeah, I'm still learning that.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. I also thought about something that I want to try is that you can ask a question to the next guest. I think Stephen Bartlett does or has done it. Like you come up with a question for the next guest. What would you ask the next guest? What question would you ask him or her?
It can be anything.
Yeah, anything.
I think I would like to know wow, that's another tough one. I think I would like to know about the next guest is what's behind your ambitions? Like, where does your ambitions come from? What drives you every single day? Like, do you have any specific things you do that makes you want to get up and just go for it? That's my question.
Wow, that's a good one. That's a really good one. I'm excited. I'm curious to know what the answer will be from the next guest. All right. Well, I have a couple of more questions,
Sure.
but there will be exclusively for our online community. So if you're interested, you can click the link in the description below to join our online community. Well, that's it. Thank you, Amin, for coming on this show.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate it.
sharing your journey, very inspiring journey. You shared your story and the insights. I'm sure people got a lot of value from it. So I'm truly grateful that you took that chance and came on the show. Thank
you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that's it. Like always, stay courageous, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it.
Did you like it?
Oh, it went perfectly.
Yeah.